You're listening to episode 118, recap episode, The Best Advice from Year 3 Guests. Welcome to the Grass Gets Greener podcast, the show for survivors by survivors. I'm your host, Melissa Wilson, a bullying survivor and anti-bullying advocate. And each week you'll hear from a survivor who has overcome a traumatic experience to go on to not only survive, but thrive, so that you can too, starting now. Hey there, and welcome to this special recap episode of the podcast. What this means is that we have reached the end of another year of the show. October 2nd, 2014 was the first ever episode, so it's been just about 3 years now. It's crazy, and I thank you for being here, whether you've been here since the beginning or since last week. I do this show for you, and it's been an honor for me to bring all of these awesome survivors and their stories to you, to inspire you and give you hope for your healing journey. Today we're going to hear from each of my guests from this third year of the show, and what you're going to hear is their answers to the final question that I asked, which is, given what you know now, if you could go back to when you were going through your tough times and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be? I like putting everyone's answers together like this because I think it makes for a really nice compilation to have and to be able to turn to if you're in need of a little encouragement or hope or motivation. If you're a new listener, this is a great place to start. You can listen to these clips and see which ones resonate with you and go check out the full episodes. Those will all be linked up on the show notes page, by the way, which you can find at thegrassgetsgreener.com/recap and the number 5, as this is the fifth episode, the fifth recap episode overall. So I hope you're looking forward to hearing all these great answers again. But before we get into it, I do have an exciting announcement to make. So back in October 2015, I hosted the first ever Bullying Survivors Virtual Summit, where I interviewed 12 experts in the bullying field to address various topics designed to help someone overcome having been bullied. Well, I'm excited to announce that I have dusted it off and have made it available for purchase for anyone who would like lifetime access to it. You can find out all about it over at thegrassgetsgreener.com/BSVS. So that's B as in bullying, S as in survivors, V as in virtual, and S as in summit. And the speakers provided some really valuable information, so I wanted to make sure that it's out there in the world if you or someone you know could benefit from it. So again, you can check that out at thegrassgetsgreener.com/BSVS, where you can see who was part of it and the topics covered and what you can expect to learn from it. And let me know if you have any questions. All right, so now that I've mentioned that, let's go ahead and get on with this recap episode. And the first guest we'll be hearing from is Annie Evans from episode 97. Enjoy. Episode 97, Dealing with the Abuse When the Abuse Was by a Family Member, with Annie Evans.
I guess I would just say that it's okay to feel exactly how you're feeling. And to, I guess I wish I just felt a little more brave. I don't know. But just assuring that feeling the way I felt was okay in that moment. And I don't know how I would do it differently, I guess, but I still got to where I am today. So I guess I'm happy with that. I don't know.
Episode 98. Realizing the Lies We Are Told and Breaking Free, with Amen Oyaboke.
I would tell her, I would say, dear elementary age, Amen. I wish you could see yourself how it would be now. I know that you didn't have to feel alone in your own body. I wish you could have looked in the mirror and say, I look good today, and not feel validated by the words of other people. You should love yourself because you are a product of a masterful, wonderful God, and you are worth everything in this world, even more than this world. You are strong, you are capable, you have a heart of gold, and you shouldn't base your life on the opinions of others, because people change every single day. Literally, they change every day. So the image of yourself shouldn't change every day. It should be strong. Know that people change every day. People are going to say what they want to say. They're going to say what they want to say based off of their life experiences and based off of their own hurt. And it has nothing to do with you. So don't even take what they're saying about you as your own personal description or your own personal definition. Look forward to life and literally just have like tunnel vision when it comes to the image of yourself. Only seek God for that wisdom, and you would be so much happier. That's what I would tell her.
Episode 99, Reclaiming Your Life by Choosing How You Move Forward, with Sasha Joseph Newlinger.
I could go back in time and share a piece of advice with myself. I would say that, Sasha, you can't change the past. You can't control what happens around you. You can only choose how you show up in the present moment of your life. And whatever has you stressed out or filled with anxiety today, you'll have a chance to work on it tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Just take it one day at a time. And above all, remember to love yourself.
Episode 101, Healing from Past Trauma Through Writing and Peer Support, with Christine Sissy White.
Oh, God, I love that question. Just to have more compassion for how scrappy you have to be to survive, and that it's anytime. I think the one thing I was thinking, like, anytime you're having fun or anytime you're doing something you're really passionate or curious or joyful about, that is high level healing. It doesn't just have to be the work and the grueling and the effort part is healing. Like, joy is healing as well. And I didn't learn that till way older. And so I think I would put joy and fun in my life earlier. I mean, it's hard to do that when you don't feel safe. Joy and fun are not that appealing when you feel unsafe. But I wouldn't wait as long. It's really important. It's one of the best parts of life, and it's one of the best parts of healing. And I think there were times when I would even cut short my fun to go, be productive or look at an issue or focus on something. Or I think I would say have more fun, if possible.
Episode 102, Building Your Confidence After Years of Family Bullying, with Nathan Siegel.
I was looking forward to that question. That came as a result of my second timeline therapy. Timeline therapy, you're asked for the lesson, which may be a phrase or a sentence. And for me, it had to do with going back in time to when I was 23, when there's a pivotal moment to do with abuse with my father and the bullying and all the family stuff. And the answer was walk away. And that's what I do. That's what I advise anybody in a bullying situation. Doesn't matter what it is. I tell them to walk away. Now, some people get very angry when I say that because they have all this investment in whatever's going on. And I stick to what I know, what works for me. And if it resonates with somebody else, great. But that's it. Walk away.
Episode 103, Overcoming Pain and Struggle to Become Bulletproof, with Justin Peck.
The biggest piece of advice I would ever give myself is to raise my voice, meaning if I would have talked about it more, if I would have taken the group of people around me that I knew that cared about me, and if I was able to explain to them a little bit better about what I was going through, I think that my life would be a little different. I would have realized that the struggles weren't so off the wall, because I always thought that I was really, really unique in the way that my mindset would come across. So if I had to do, something different, or if I had the advice to give, I would say just stand up and have a voice. Talk to the people that love you. because they can always help. They're your biggest support group.
Episode 104, update episode, Alan Eisenberg.
It's what I'm saying, as an adult, we have to share what happened to us. And so what we have is the wisdom of age, right? We have the wisdom of knowing now what we didn't know then. And so when I would go back to that very dark, unhappy, angry, contemplative, violent kid, I would say, you know what? This too shall pass. And hopefully try to explain that, patience is something that we live with. But the patience is that this too shall pass. And that, again, it doesn't mean good or bad, that you have to allow your life to be lived that way and not take everything so seriously and not decide that everything is either black or white, but that we will flow and life will flow, good and bad. And that whatever you're experiencing now, Alan, is going to pass. And hopefully he would believe me, because it's hard when you're young to believe that that's going to happen.
Episode 105, How to Stop Feeding the Monsters in Your Life, with Veronica Loving.
I would say the main thing is that you realize that you're not alone, that you can get through this. And I think there's a Bible verse that says, this too shall pass. So if you can hold on to that when you're walking through it, you don't know the answers of what's going to be on the other side, but you're going to get through it. And the shrapnel and all the things that don't serve you will fall by the wayside. And you're going to come out stronger and better. And believe that.
Episode 106, Facing Your Fears and Overcoming Challenges with Confidence, with Cassie Gannis.
I wouldn't honestly change anything, because that's how you learn from certain situations of how to become a better person. So I definitely wouldn't change anything or go back and tell myself certain things, because that made me who I am today. So I definitely wouldn't. I would do it all over again if I had to, even though it wasn't the best of time, but I would definitely do it again.
Episode 107, Choosing Yourself in Order to Heal from Abuse, with Farah Hyman.
If I could give myself one piece of advice, gosh, I need to give myself a lot of advice, but if I had to choose one, I think it would be to tell myself to love myself, that I'm worth it.
Episode 108, update episode, Emily Stroya.
If I could go back to those times when things were really challenging and difficult, I would probably say to myself, one, that there's an angel always around somewhere. Somehow there will be someone there to pick you up and guide you when in your darkest time, and that you're never alone, that you're always loved.
Episode 109, Evolving from a Traumatic Past into a Beautiful Life Today, with Annie Kim.
It always gets better. Like, no matter what you go through, it's so temporary, it always gets better. So just don't give up. Like, suicide or, just that's never a answer for anything. It might be a relief for you, but I realized, coming from a family where there's been a lot of abuse and depression and suicide, that the only people that, end up being hurt are your friends and family, because you might have relief, but they will never. So my advice to myself would definitely be, just never give up. It always gets better.
Episode 110, Turning Post-Traumatic Stress into Post-Traumatic Strength, with Dr. John A. King.
That it'll be okay. It all works out. It all works out. It all works out in the end. It's not over till the fat lady sings. It all works out. Just trust. Just relax. It's going to be okay. I spent too many years striving, regretting, fearful. What do you do, man? I'm 50 and I lost everything. Would I ever be loved again? Would I ever find someone again? Would my kids ever talk to me again? Two do, one doesn't. Would I ever own a house again, car again? Would I ever be able to go shopping again without crying and bursting into tears? It's working out. So anyone who's going through it, it's going to be okay. Just don't stop. There's a great passage in the Psalms that says, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I'll fear no evil. The idea is to walk through the valley of shadow of death, not buy timeshares in the bloody thing. And I think we just need to get up and get going, because it's going to be okay. It's all going to be okay.
Episode 111, Taking Charge of Your Life and Creating Your Future with Michelle Lewis.
That's hard. I feel like I would have like a 3-hour-long lecture prepared for her. I'm picturing myself I think I was 13, and at lunchtime, I would sit in front of my next class because then I wouldn't have to walk down the hallways to get ridiculed. And that was probably the lowest of the low for me. And I think what I would say is, you're taking all of this personally. You don't know what has happened in her past to make her treat you like this. And if you keep allowing this, you yourself are going to be responsible for your detriment, not her, not anyone else. It's going to be you. So remember who you were built to be, get up, and start creating your future instead of living in the past.
Episode 112, Empowering Yourself to Break Free of the Patterns of Abuse with Dr. Rose Mina.
Really believe it would be to be less self-critical, because I was so hard on myself, Melissa, so hard. I lived in such deep self-hate and just being against myself in so many terrible ways. I did very many detrimental things to myself because I literally was suicidal every day. And so when I look back at that, I wish that I had had more self-compassion and being less self-critical of myself.
Episode 113, Shifting Your Perspective to Break Free of the Past with Maria Salomao-Schmidt.
So I'm getting this hit to tell you now. So what I do all the time, I don't know what advice I would give myself because I did what I needed to do to get to this point. But what I do all the time now is I do a reverse prayer. I go back to those times and I send that little girl that was really afraid and really scared and all alone. And literally she was all alone. Just send her love and whisper in her ear, thank you so much. Thank you. Because where you're going is going to be amazing. And I think it's my responsibility now to not let her down. To let her, her going through that really, really hard time alone and vulnerable as a little kid, that me as an adult now, that I as an adult can totally kick ass for her and for me.
Episode 114, Update Episode with Derek Duplessis.
I think what I would tell myself is that I have agency. I have the ability to fend for myself, and I don't have to do it in a violent way because I was a scrawny little kid. And so I think the biggest thing there is be able to just speak up, and then from there, things will happen. So it's not necessarily something where it's going to magically change the situation, but I just took way longer than I needed to, and that's what I would tell myself.
Episode 115, From Bullied and Isolated to Helping Others Leave a Legacy with Tina Dietz.
I actually think I would go back to myself at that age and say, you know what, you think you're too loud, but you actually can be louder. It's totally fine to go and hold grown-ups to what they need to do to protect you. And don't stop. Don't stop standing up for yourself. Don't stop saying no. And don't stop telling, because you deserve to be safe. And you deserve to have a great school experience as well. And you know what? It's all going to work out.
Episode 116, Moving Beyond the Trauma to Find Healing and Happiness, with Mary Ellen Sinclair.
I think it's what we've been saying all along. You know, things might seem really impossible or like you're never going to get out of this situation, but you will. So just like have faith. If I would say to myself, just take that leap of faith.
Episode 117, Developing the Confidence to Be Yourself After Bullying, with Ngozi Kemjika.
I would say to never overlook what lessons your story is bringing you, and to trust your journey. Trust your journey, trust your struggle, because more times than not, there is purpose in your pain. And if I didn't know that my tears and struggle would one day be worth it. I didn't know that I'd be talking to you and hopefully helping encourage other people that are going through similar situation. You know, when I was younger, I didn't know that, but now, you know, I can say that I wouldn't change a thing, because my experiences truly shaped who I am, and I believe that it's only going to keep on getting better and better. So that would be my advice to myself and to others.
Thanks for listening to the show today. This has been the Grass Gets Greener podcast, episode 118. Go to thegrassgetsgreener.com/recap and the number 5 to find the links for all the episodes mentioned here, or to leave a comment. So I hope you enjoyed this little recap of year 3. I would love to know which answer resonated with you the most. There were a couple themes that kind of stuck out to me as I listened, and one was about the importance of self-love, and the other was about how things can always get better. I mean, did you notice that in a lot of the responses? There was a lot of hope there, which was great. Now, I know it's hard when things are tough and you don't feel like they're going to get better. I wish I could tell you when that will happen for you, but what I can tell you is that it is important to hang in there and try to focus on anything that you can do to make things better for yourself. Think about what you'd want your life to look like and what things you might be able to do right now to start making progress toward that. So I hope that helps, and I hope this episode has helped. And just as a reminder, if you or someone you know was bullied and are still dealing with the effects of that, check out the Bullying Survivors Virtual Summit over at thegrassgetsgreener.com/BSVS, and that'll be linked up on the show notes page as well. And as we're going to be heading into the 4th year of the podcast, I would love it if you would take a minute now to leave the show a rating and review if you haven't done so yet. It helps the show rank better, and then more survivors can find it and hopefully benefit from it as well. So if the show has been helpful to you in some way, and you think it might be helpful to someone else, I would really appreciate you taking a few minutes of your time to review it. You can do that over on iTunes or Stitcher. And come back in 2 weeks for the first episode of year 4. And as always, have hope.